All right, it is, oh wait, here we go. It is the 2nd of January, and this is my video journal entry for today, which is Tuesday. Most everybody's still on vacation today at Mozilla, my contracting job, so I don't have a ton of stuff to do, which means I can do all my own projects. And then starting tomorrow, everything is going to be a crazy juggling act because I've got my coaching group, I've got my Mozilla stuff, I'm still writing my book, and I'm still trying to get Unicorn onto the bestseller list in May. I better remember that. My number one goal for this year is to get just to finish 2 books and publish them and get one of them on the New York Times bestseller list. So today actually really ties into that because I was on Twitter, and I'm not a big Twitter person. I feel like a lot of people are super negative on Twitter, and it continues to perpetuate negativity. Some people have told me that's just because who I follow are negative people, but I can't even seem to find my way out of the negativity. And this morning, somebody said that CEOs don't take risks because they have all these people backing them with financial backing and stuff like that. And I thought, God dang, like how out of touch, because of how much we really worked and struggled and how little safety net we had when we were working on the business. It was really scary for the first 3 years especially. And then it was just last year that we got our small business loan, SBA backed, because we don't have any collateral, because we're poor people. We're basically just regular old people. And, we're definitely luckier than many, but and more fortunate. And we've been, have definite privileges in terms of not just my mindset and my upbringing, but the color of my skin and my well-spokenness, my education level, etc. We definitely are privileged. I'm not going to discount that. But also this idea that the majority of entrepreneurs are backed by, that small businesses majority of them are backed by finances and stuff. That's just not true. The majority, 90% of small businesses have 0 to 19 employees, and that's in the US. And that's because 35% of the workforce is freelancers. And those people are basically CEOs of their own service business. And then there's a lot of people who just start small businesses in their living room, in their basement, on the nights and weekends when they're doing another job. And this idea that because it's difficult as a woman or as a minority to get a small business loan, that means that it's more difficult as a woman or a minority to start a business is just not true. It's there's a lot of reasons why people choose not to go with funding. People choose not to go with funding because they don't want to share the profits of the company with somebody else. People choose not to go with funding because they don't want to take on that debt. People choose not to go with funding because they have bad credit or whatever. But there's a lot of funding options out there, and it's not even necessary. There's so many people who've bootstrapped their business from nothing, doing it nights and weekends, like I said. And there's a lot of people who have kids and who don't have a ton of time to do this. But as Leela Baker, Donna Maria, who runs Indie Business Network, they both started their businesses with kids. And Leela was just recently divorced. And so I think that there's this completely wrong idea that because it's difficult, that it's impossible. And those two things are really, really, really different. I'm a woman. I didn't have any savings. I mean, I had a little bit of savings, but we certainly went into debt when we started this business, when we started Outlaw Soaps. You're your own worst gatekeeper. And if you are stopping yourself from starting a business because you don't think that there's any funding out there, well, that's an excuse. And you don't need funding to start a business. You could get funding. There's many, many, many ways to get funding now, and they don't all require a bank or venture capitalists. You don't have to get a $500,000 partnership with some rich white dude anymore. That's just not how life is. And to say that that is a barrier that's stopping you from starting a business or stopping anybody from starting a business is just a cop-out. And there's a lot of totally legitimate barriers. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of totally legitimate barriers. Like my friend works 2 jobs and has 2 kids. And that is a lot of time. And it takes up a ton of time. And when she gets home, she's freaking exhausted. That's a legitimate barrier. Time constraints, physical exhaustion, ability to see straight at the end of the day. That is a legitimate barrier. But saying that just because I'm a woman, I can't start a business because women don't get financing is not a legitimate barrier. That is an excuse. And so anyway, I mean, I know this probably, if I ever posted this anywhere, this would probably not be a very popular post. But because everybody wants to talk about the inequality and the barriers and stuff like that. And there are certainly inequalities. I'm not going to even begin to say that there's no inequalities. There's so many. And we need to work really hard to get those barriers dissolved, especially for people who come from different backgrounds. Everybody is important in this economy and in this workforce. And deciding that that capitalism is bad because there are problems with it is just like saying Obamacare is bad because there's problems with it. I think we need to keep working on it and make sure that we can equalize the playing field by funding education and by making conscious choices about what kind of businesses we want to support, by supporting people like Cards Against Humanity, who actually do support many humanitarian causes, ironically. But yeah, they are buying property along the Mexico border so that they can stand in the way of Trump's wall, and they're literally sending checks to poor people. As long as we support these businesses with our hard-earned money, that is really great. And I think we should all do that. So, but to say that there just isn't enough money out there, or that the gatekeepers are stopping people from getting it is an excuse. So, yeah, I know this is not a popular topic, and it just really irritates me when people say that it's just not possible, because it is possible. And my goal is to help people realize how possible it is and to get out there and do it. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy for anybody, but it's especially not easy for women and people of color. And that's unfortunate, but that's all the more reason you got to do it, because we got to show people that women are great business owners, that people of color are great business owners. We have to go out there and show that. We have to talk about our experience. We have to talk about how it's not just white guys who can start businesses. It's not just people with tons of funding who can start businesses. We need to share our experience. So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, all right. It's the 2nd. See you tomorrow.